All right, here we are, folks. Hey, Robert, you know what that music means? I love that music.
Means it's Friday and we can go home.
Saturday.
Oh, sorry.
Saturday,
I made a faux pas.
August 16th, folks. Welcome to Citizen Watch, another edition here at Studio C, the palatial Studio C. We hope you like our intro music as much as we do.
I don't.
Well, Robert,
I've never been an AC/DC fan.
No, we probably should have a Sinatra song or something.
I didn't like Frank's. Actually, funny story.
Yeah.
Okay. I go to a wedding.
Uh-huh.
My dad got remarried, and his wife has a daughter, Gina.
Mm-hmm.
Jean got married. So I have a friend of mine who is gay. So my dad says, "Hey, be easy on him," because we used to always pick on him. I mean, that's the way, it wasn't bullying. It was
just the way.
It was just the way. So anyway, my dad says, he's there with his partner, be nice. So I go over there and I said, Dad, I'm always nice. I like the guy. So I go over there and I go, "Hey, Carl, how you doing?" I give him a big old hug. He goes, "Hey, Rob, still listening to Barry Manilow?"
Yeah, I know we've teased you about your Barry Manilow selections. That voice you hear is our Goose Commander, Robert the Velvet Sledgehammer Tomasetti, and I'm Grizzly Adam. Casey Steed.
You know what you just did?
What?
That could have been infringement because you never know. Duck Commander, Goose Commander, they can.
Well, I'm saying Goose Commander. I didn't say Duck Commander. And of course, if anybody remembers that wonderful movie from the 80s, Top Gun, Goose was. I teased Robert about his geese.
Yeah, but they're getting unruly.
They
ran into the street. I had to chase them down the street.
I think they're becoming more than Robert can handle. And
some things they are. I'll agree.
They are.
The poopage is getting kind of.
Yeah, well, we appreciate people tuning into Citizen Watch. Folks, we're on every Saturday from 7 a.m.
and 7 p.m.
And then it's at 7 p.m.
At 1480 KYOS.
1480 a.m. KYOS. And if you want to listen to any of our old shows, you can go to YouTube.
Oh, that reminds me.
Yes.
I went to the Merced Union High School District Board meeting.
Yes.
Okay, I went over there, and I'm talking to this guy, and this guy was kind of a poop. He really was. He was kind of like really, really not friendly.
Who was he?
Well, I don't want to say a name.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm complaining because I'm getting sprinkled on because I'm walking there at 6 o'clock, and Castle Air Force Base. That place is a desert, right?
Yeah.
Except for
MUS.
Except for King Vincent Scott Scambray's
District
Palace.
Office, yeah.
That thing has the greenest grass. All of a sudden, bam! At 5:45, the sprinklers start going on, spraying the building, spraying everything. So I go in there complaining a little bit because my lawn's rotten.
Oh, well, that's this water issue.
So this guy's going blah 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 blah, and I go, "Look, dude, okay, it's a drought," and he goes, "I recognize your voice. Say that again." Yeah. And I go, "Look, dude, it's a drought." And he goes, "You're that hammer guy from Citizen Watch. I listen to you all the time."
The Velvet Sledgehammer.
I had to change my viewpoint of him.
Yeah, he's
a fan.
Well, we do have fans. Some people agree with us, some people don't. And, we do like to have differing opinions, and we welcome all opinions on this show. And I haven't given out the tip line in a long time, and I will
Please
now.
do.
209 area code 406-8728. If you guys have any comments or questions, want to come on the show, we're occasionally looking for guests. Of course, the election season, the silly season, the runoffs are coming up. November, we're going to have an election.
I'd like to have on?
I see the signs starting to go up.
Well, I seen the signs that never went down. I still see Kevin Blake's sign.
It was funny. Pat Lunny running for sheriff against Vern Warnke to put a sign up by my house. It must have been at like 2 a.m. because it was suddenly, not there at 10, and then in the morning it was there. It was just funny. But
you know what?
Yeah.
You know who I'd like to have on the show?
Who?
Dr. Somonix.
Oh, Steve Gomes, I think, wants to come out. There was a great article about his STEM school. He had a response to Mr. Cox's criticism of Dr. Gomes taking away their ADA, or as Robert likes to say, butts in seats money.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Because they feel if they lose one student to Dr. Gomes' STEM school, well, then they just won't be able to run.
Let me do this really quickly for our listeners. I went to the Merced Union High School District because we had a program on about these diploma mills.
Yeah, he went to the school board meeting.
I went to the school board meeting, and when I got there, it was packed. Well, come to find out, Mrs. McAfee, Stacy McAfee, who's human resources, did a fantastic job. She introduced everybody. One thing she did show is she did tell that it's very hard to get science teachers.
Yes.
Okay, which put a little light bulb in my head. So I'm listening, and all of a sudden CTA gets up, and he rails against a STEM school. Mm-hmm. And he says,
against Dr. Gomes' STEM school.
He didn't say that. He said a STEM. Yeah, this is what he said. His rhetoric was a STEM school. And then what he said is, he says we have the capability, the technology, the wherewithal to do this. And then I listened to Miss McAfee do it's an annual meeting they have to do about the need for teachers.
Right.
And she's talking about the science teachers that she hired are on limited permit. In other words, they have to finish their CBEST. They got to
fully credentialed
because they're not, and they got a special thing. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you know what? You think that you can pull off a STEM school, and you can't even find science teachers. Okay, and then they were going on and saying, "Oh, the support of this of the staff." And I'm thinking and remembering that Roki that was in the newspaper that got up and he spoke for Dr. Gomes' STEM school, and I'm thinking, you know what? Why don't you put that STEM school at El Capitan and make it a win-win? Okay, but no. So I made a comment. I go, well, why don't they want the STEM school? Well, it'll be a lowering of ADA. I said, ADA? I go, for 200 kids? If he gets that? And the guy goes, that's how the district is run. And I thought to myself, where's it for the kids? Right. If it's really for the kids, put it in STEM. No, and we know it's not.
No, we've highlighted comments from these people. And when I say these people, these folks that are worried more about the dollars than the education of our children, which shows in our test scores. I mean, 46th in the nation, folks. And here Dr. Gomes is trying to elevate the level in the pond here in Merced County. As he pointed out in his article in the Merced County Times, a lot of these kids that will go to this STEM school are already being homeschooled. They're in other settings, private schools, because the district, the public school system doesn't offer STEM. So he's trying to fill a need, and I think he's running into resistance from this because purely people are worried about the ADA. And we're not talking about the American with Disabilities Act. We're talking about the average daily attendance. And this this is their heroin. This is their lifeblood. This is their opiate to keep these high-priced salaries, to keep the status quo going, because, boy, they don't want to have any changes over there. We've taken all the accountability out of schools with teachers, and by God, you don't want to take their money, too. So, again, we applaud Dr. Gomes over the Merced County Office of Education.
And one caveat to this.
Trying to roll a rock up a hill with these folks, people. It's unbelievable.
And one thing that really got me was, okay, first of all, he does say, hey, how come it can't be set up with the high school district and Merced City Schools? I'm sure the three of them can come together and come up with a consensus.
Of course they can.
Okay, but they don't. But Scambray and Parker Duran don't want it because they're losing butts. Now, here's the point, though. And he said, first of all, it's a pipeline. This school will be, it says, it is trying to set up a feeder school to Merced College and UC of Merced and University of Merced. Mm-hmm. He wants the kids to stay here locally, which is great. Mm-hmm. But here's what a critic said. A critic said, and this is it says, critics say that such a charter school will become an elitist school, attracting only the cream of the crop, students from other districts. Is that what we want?
Is there something wrong with that statement?
No.
Well, what is the problem with having elite people, the cream of the crop?
Well, because, you know why?
Because it discriminates?
No. It's not because it discriminates. What did you always tell me? What's the Peter principle?
Oh, will you get promoted to your level of incompetence?
Incompetence. So I think some of these teachers are a little afraid that they're going to have students that are just as smart as they are.
You may be right, Robert. That's the most inane statement I've ever heard. And I'm going to read another one while we're talking about schools. This is in Fresno, and the reason I bring this up is because of the issue it highlights. There's a new elementary school in Fresno that was just built called Gaston Elementary School.
Really? Where's it at?
It's I don't have the exact address, but let's just say it's in the hood. It's in an area that's underserved, has been underserved for many years.
So it's in low income.
A minority area. And they've hired a gentleman, a teacher, Peter Beck, for Latino and African American studies at the school. They have a position there. Now, this gentleman, Mr. Beck, has been teaching this for 15 years. Now, a little side note here, it's funny that it surprises me that we've had Latin and African American studies for 15 years. But regardless, we have, and they have a position at this new elementary school. Obviously, they're hiring new teachers for the whole gig.
Of course.
School started. But the folks that live in the area, some of the clergy, the NAACP, some of the Latino groups, stood up in opposition to the hiring of Mr. Beck. Now, can you guess why they didn't like?
Oh, I told you this when we had coffee. I said, I'll bet you he's white.
Well, he's not the right color. Let's put it that
Caucasoid.
way. Yeah, he's Caucasian. And they say they're not upset about his qualifications. Again, he has 15 years of training.
Then what are they upset about?
Well, they feel that the hiring process wasn't inclusive to people of color, which it evidently was. As you know, these public jobs are posted. Now, whether people respond to them or not, the outreach that's given, some of these folks feel there wasn't enough outreach, that they should have hired a person of color. But here's what I found disturbing, Robert. There was a parent at the board meeting, and she stood up. Her name was Karen Than. She has a son that goes there. And she says, I want to push for colored teachers for my children. We want to see our children make connections and not struggle. And I read that statement. I had to read it several times because I couldn't believe what that was saying.
Racism.
Exactly. She's totally discounting the qualifications of the teacher.
And voted him negatively because of the color of his skin.
He hasn't done anything. He hasn't even taught one day of school.
No, and they already want his butt.
It just amazes me, Robert, that the divisions we have in this country at this time still do.
There are areas, let's be very candid and very clear. There are areas of this country where if you are white and you go into a black area, it's just as dangerous as if you are black and go into a white area. And some people try to, sweep it under the carpet, but it's true.
It happens all the time.
Here's to make your point. Okay, Trayvon Martin. The president comes out. Trayvon's black. President's black. President says, "Oh, that's a travesty. Would have been my son."
Look what's going on in Missouri.
Then in Missouri, the 4 black kids.
One black child that was killed.
No, I'm talking not that one. I'm talking about the Australian kid.
Oh, yes.
That the 4 blacks attacked, and they asked President Obama for a reaction, and he said, "Well, I don't have one."
It was actually in Oklahoma. And,
was it Oklahoma?
Yeah, it was very, very sad. He was a foreign exchange student shot in the back. But
it just shows you.
Well, let's talk about the current situation in Missouri.
I'm not really, kind of honestly, I'm not really familiar with it. Every time I try to link it,
well, they released the video today, the day we record, about the gentleman went into a convenience store, stole a box of cigars, passed it off to a friend. The convenience store called and said, "Hey, we just had a strong-arm robbery." And this policeman stopped this suspect, and the shooting occurred, and the gentleman died. But you've heard the rhetoric. We don't need to repeat it about how the cops were, targeted this kid. It was an unjustified shooting. His hands were up. We see these pictures on the internet and tweeting now, hands up, hands up. Well, I can tell you, if he would have put his hands up and complied with the officer, he'd still be here today.
And I think appalled.
Yeah, I think the people that, again, use this as an excuse are really missing the point, and we've come so far backwards in time. 1963, Martin Luther King's speech, "I Have a Dream," talked about a man being judged by the content of his character and not the color of his skin. And here we have a parent saying, "I want to push for colored teachers for my children."
But here's the point.
What about the best qualified teacher?
Of course, but what they're using is, a lot of people say, well, it's racism. I don't think it's racism, Case. I think more of it is it's discrimination. Mm-hmm. Okay? If you look up, and here's something that you can argue and have a great argument. What's the difference between preference and prejudice?
Preference, and prejudice. Well,
you know what the definitions are? Mm-hmm. Preconceived judgment or opinion.
On prejudice.
Both.
On both.
Because the preference is I want ice cream.
That's a good point.
My preference is chocolate. Mm-hmm. Okay? My preference is if I want a gym teacher for the girls, my preference is a female.
Yeah, and you could say prejudice is not necessarily a bad word.
Right.
It's just your preference.
Exactly. But what we use it, it's kind of, I don't know. Harassment is overused. The word harassment is overused. I was in a place where these girls were they were teenage, I think preteens, teens, and they're using words like rape, molest. Mm-hmm. And you're like, listening to these kids, and they're using it in everyday rhetoric. Oh, he raped me. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
And what she meant was the kid wouldn't leave her alone.
Well, maybe this parent meant something different than what she said, but I think the statement, when kids hear
this... But you see it a lot.
You do see it a lot. And America, to me, is a melting pot. I think of some of the old shows we used to have on TV, the Mod Squad and the White Knight, and, we were trying to be inclusive, Good Times, All in the Family. Some of these shows that confronted racism and prejudices in America, and we made fun of it through humor, whatever, some very serious...
You can't.
Now you can't.
Look at Living Color.
Right.
And Living Color was hilarious.
It
and
was.
In Living Color was predominantly African American, the Wayans brothers. And guess who they got in trouble by? The African Americans, because they said you are identifying us and you are labeling and you're stereotyping. Chris Rock does it in his. Everybody thinks he's funny.
It does.
He uses the N-word every other word.
One of the most popular comedians. Yeah, and very
other than Robin Williams, who we lost.
Well. Yes, and maybe we should go out in our first segment to give.
No.
Yeah. He was 63 years old and unfortunately took his life last Monday, and is no longer with us. Of course, I think we all
everybody knows.
Everybody knows. Grew up with him, and hopefully
you didn't. You're too old.
No, don't date me. You're older than me, so. Well, look, we are coming to the end of our first segment. We've got lots to talk about. We encourage people to stay with us through the break on Citizen Watch on AM 1480 on this fine Saturday morning. The weather's starting to cool down. Can't say I can feel fall in the air, but the sun's setting a little lower, and days are getting shorter. The geese are getting bigger. We're looking forward to Thanksgiving. Just teasing. But stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
Is there anybody out there? Hello.
Hold on.
Didn't you like that? I'm comfortably numb. Pink Floyd, The Wall. That killed disco, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Want to do that? Let's come in with that. Want to come in with that?
Yeah. Folks.
Hello. Don't you love that album? No, come on. Let's not go in our break the right way. Let's do it our way.
Okay.
Hey, didn't you like Pink Floyd?
I did like Pink Floyd.
Awesome.
The Wall. Great
The
album.
Wall killed disco.
Mm-hmm.
John Travolta had to reinvent himself, so Grease was the word.
Yeah, no, don't get me singing now.
And then he went to
lose
Urban
all.
Cowboy. Well, you know, in those 3 years, man, he went from a disco dude to a greaser to a cowboy. He created 3 different. Man, he was awesome.
We're going to lose what listeners we have if Robert and I start singing. And the listeners we have are listening to Citizen Watch.
Happy birthday to you.
To me.
No, to anybody out there whose birthday is today.
August 16th, folks. Saturday, August 16th, the middle of August. Headed, I think most people are back to school. If not, you're going to start next week, Monday. So drive carefully out there. Watch all those kids. It's going to get darker and darker. Pretty soon they're going to be going to school in the dark.
Halloween.
And coming home in the dark. I'm Casey Steed, and we got Robert, the Velvet Sledgehammer Tomasetti, on the other side of the board here. We talked a little bit about some school issues. We're going to switch up now and move it on into Merced County. One of the things we saw in the news this week was the Board of Supervisors.
Steve Martin's birthday was yesterday.
Yes.
Mila Kunis, and so was Halle Berry.
I think it's Mila Kunis.
Mila. She is.
Mila. I don't know. Anyway, county, yes, she is. County Super, she was on that 70s show, right?
Oh, I don't care. I liked her in Black Swan. Hubba. Okay, let's go. Let's get to your serious
Meals on Wheels, folks. This used to be called Project Cherish many years ago. Started in 1974. This is 2014. That's 43 years ago, depending on how
74 and 14 is not 43 years. It's 40.
74. Okay, whatever it is. My math is not a strong point, people.
No, but your lyricism, your literary skills are, because you are going to tell us.
I should go to Steve Gomes' STEM school.
I put the highlighter in there so you could find it.
And I took the highlighter out. Anyway, this used to be called Project Cherish. It's going through some changes. They basically deliver hot meals every day to people that are shut-ins or that can't otherwise get out to eat. Mm-hmm. It's not only meals, folks. It's about checking on these folks, making sure that they're okay. Interaction. And I find it interesting that they've changed the name of this particular.
Well, we had met Ernie Solis, who was very, very helpful, and Ernie had a concern because he was working for them for years.
Right, he's been over there, and
he complained about the the changing of the term Project Cherish.
Yeah, and I just wanted to read the definition out of Webster's. It says to hold dear, to feel or show affection for, to keep or cultivate with care and affection.
You want to know what that reminds me of?
What?
They're going from care and affection to cold. Okay.
What they're going to is frozen meals, folks.
Have you ever met Anna Pagan?
No, I haven't.
She's a very nice young lady, except she's about as cold as those frozen dinners she wants to deliver. And the point of the matter is we are not cherishing our seniors.
No, the whole deal with this frozen meal, it's one of its costs, but the other is food safety. Evidently, the meals have to be a certain temperature when they're delivered to the seniors.
Can I ask you a question?
And they're not meeting that. Yes.
Let me ask you a question. They're not meeting it by who said that?
Well, they haven't been cited by the health department, but they feel that they're potentially looking at food poisoning issues.
Really?
What I find interesting is
wait. I didn't
ahead.
get there yet.
Okay.
How many people have died because of foodborne illness of these dinners that Anna Pagan is sending out?
None so far.
How many got sick?
Well, I don't know. I don't think any that have been documented in any article I've read.
Exactly. So I look at Mrs. Pagan and Ms. Pagan and her food safety, and I say, bupkis.
Right. Well, they say the way society is judged about how they treat their most vulnerable citizens. And I think that Project Cherish started out with honorable, good intentions, and it's been perverted about 4 years ago. They brought in a new firm, this firm that's now proposing to go to the frozen meals. They immediately got rid of all the people that were there at Project Cherish, brought their own folks in. Now they want to save money even further. One of the things that's happening is Bruce Metcalf over at the rescue mission, when he's not playing musical chairs with turkeys, 5 of his people deliver these meals on wheels to these folks.
How much money do they charge?
I don't think they charge anything. I think it's to give these rescue mission folks a job. And if they do charge whatever, it's good for a good cause. We're trying to get these people reassimilated.
Right, I understand.
So anyway, they're going to
So
lose.
now they can deliver Domino's pizza.
They're going to lose. They're going to lose. They're going to lose their jobs. They're basically saving $2.49 a meal, $2.39 a meal by going to this new program. But there's concerns. The welfare checks. Who's going to check on these citizens? The Merced County Times had kind of a neat article there and had some great quotes from Mrs. Pagan. And she says, well, she says that the frozen meals program may include daily phone calls to seniors, companion volunteers to check in on them, and home alert devices for emergencies. This is the I've fallen and can't get up button.
Wait, I got a question.
Yes.
Go back. She says, Pagan said that the frozen meals program, what? May include daily phone calls.
Doesn't include it now.
No, doesn't include it now. You got people who are disabled.
Right.
You try to. How many friends of yours have seniors, senior family members, and they try to call them on the telephone, and they run over to the house, and he goes, "I couldn't get it right.
Right.
Lost my hearing aid." Okay. The whole point of the matter, Case, this is garbage.
It is.
And you know what? I think the Board of Supervisors should be chastised for this, because I guarantee you, when Anna Pagan talks, they listen. And I'll bet you she did a Moosey the Cow little do trick.
Well, let's talk about Moosey the Cow. When we talk about the Board of Supervisors, one did vote in the negative, didn't go along with this program. That was Deidre Kelsey, represents Snelling and some of the outlighting areas, Hillmar.
Her answer was really a big gem.
Well,
she looked like she took a lot of thought with that one.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree completely with her.
Have you had a frozen dinner?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had a cheap dinner from like Paul's Place?
No, Paul's Place, yeah.
Okay. Which is better?
Paul's Place.
Okay. The whole point of the matter is Deidre Kelsey says, I guess they're good. I'm like, do you feed these to your husband? You know what I think they should do? Take these frozen dinners, give them to the Board of Supervisors for a month. That's your lunches, boys. And let me see how much and how good they think the quality is.
Right.
And where's the fresh fruits and vegetables that they talk about?
Well, this is the thing, and when we talk about fresh fruit and vegetables, I'm kind of critical on HSA on this. If folks don't know, Health and Human Services or Human Services Agency, whatever it's called, Anna Pagan, administers one of the largest budgets in this county, almost
the
largest budget in this county, $250 million for welfare, food stamps, you name it, she's throwing it out there. We've been kind of critical on some of her programs. This Moosey, the food truck, the fresh fruit truck.
It
asphyxiates
you when you go over there?
Yeah, it has some diesel issues, but Don and Nancy Bergman.
Donnie.
My Donnie. They've been running this truck around the county for a year. As I remember, that cost over $100,000.
$170,000.
Yeah, $170,000. Now when they ran this truck, they were going to bring out fresh fruit and milk and produce, cheese, all that kind of stuff.
What happened to the milk and produce?
Couldn't keep it cold enough.
Couldn't keep it cold enough?
No. The truck was so old and dilapidated, this old beer truck that they painted lime green, was so dilapidated, the refrigeration system couldn't keep the milk cold enough. So again, healthcare violation. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, now, Anna, your track record's your track record's pretty bad. You can't keep cold stuff cold. You can't keep hot stuff hot. I'm not sure these frozen meals. How are you going to verify that we're getting them out there cold? I mean, they're going to get popsicle stick, mushy stick. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, the Board of Supervisors. Here's what I don't understand. Okay, John Pedroso had a dad.
Right.
Okay. The father ate frozen dinners. That was John's. Okay, frozen dinners. I go, yeah, because they're old.
Yeah.
They don't cook anymore.
No.
Okay. The guys are digging their hands in ovens without oven mitts, because some of them have partial dementia. Some of them can't even bend over.
Right.
Okay. So John says, well, it's going to be microwavable. And I go, okay, some of them can't even see. How are they going to read the back of the box to tell you what, okay? Oh, well, if they don't have, how many of them have microwaves?
Right.
And the whole point of the matter is, where's the money?
Yeah,
it's all about money.
$80,000 they're short. Now, I'll remind everybody, these supervisors get $40,000 a year each to spread around in their district. I think they ought to make up the shortfall out of their discretionary funds. Again, the way we're treating these folks is disingenuous. And folks, we're talking about 255 people.
Wait, but tell them look at all the stuff that she wants to do. She wants to have the volunteers.
Yeah.
Okay, what does it say? Oh, to address the tender loving care and
Right.
welfare check issue, the supervisors. I read that wrong.
Now, I think you're talking about the point she said that the volunteers
Right.
companion programs would involve recruiting volunteers, fingerprinting them, and training them. How much is that going to cost? You've already got a system in place. You've had it in place since 1974. When it just goes to show you, whenever government tries to reinvent the wheel, we end up with a square wheel. I just don't see where this is a good decision.
I got an idea.
Not so much the nutrition, but the checking on people. Everybody agrees that that's an important facet of this program, and yet they haven't addressed it.
I got a better idea.
What?
Why don't we peg on a map where all these people live?
Right.
Find a central location, like clusters,
Yeah.
and deliver pizzas.
They do that now with these hot meals. Well, I had
No. Wait, let me finish my thought.
Right.
Okay. This way, they will check on each other.
Right.
Hey, how you doing, Gertie? While they're eating pizzas.
Right.
Pizzas are hot.
Well, I
Like you said, Domino's can.
I find it funny that Domino's and Little Caesars Pizza, they can deliver pizzas anywhere in the county, hot and fresh, and within a half hour. And Anna Pagan can't, with her $250 million in hot trucks. They talk about $80,000 for trucks and this and that.
You know what
I can go to a taco wagon down over here on 16th Street on the Stroll, get a hot taco anytime I want. Anna, what do you do? What are you capable of doing? I just question.
Why
do you need to read a government magazine about how to deliver hot meals?
Because here's what they do. They chase the next shiny quarter. So she reads something. Oh, great idea. Goes to the supervisors. Well, oh, sure, Anna, because she wields all this money.
That's right.
But here's the thing that I didn't tell you.
What?
I went to HSA yesterday.
Yeah.
I was appalled.
What'd you see?
I'm listening to this, okay, and I'm reading the article, and I'm a little miffed. So I go down to HSA, and I said, let me see the requirements to qualify for EBT. And I read the money that they give immigrants that are feeling persecuted.
Right.
They get their money within a short amount of time. We can find, now Anna Pagan, when she did Muzi the Cow, she said, we were critical of her, and she said that her job is to make sure that everybody who qualifies for welfare and social services gets it.
Right.
But the seniors who have paid with their lives, their families, okay, and are struggling to survive the golden years of their life, we look at them like bastard children. But yet we can give somebody who's never been here gobs of money and cards to go get free food at Save Mart, and we can't pay the extra $2 for 150 people.
Yeah, $250. I think that our priorities are definitely screwed up. I think, again, there was two issues here: food and just the quality of life that we're giving these citizens. It's just one little perk that our county does. We get government money for this. It's not like we fund it.
Cut. But let me ask you something. Did she cut her pay raise?
Oh,
she cut her pay?
Of course not.
She cut her staff?
No. And why didn't we cut Muzi the Cow? How successful has that program
I don't know, but it's coming up for the reevaluation.
This program, again, Project Cherish, to honor, to hold dear those that you value, has been going on since 1974. It helps people at the rescue mission. It helps the seniors. It helps the volunteers that they currently have. Why do we need to tear that down and reinvent this? I just don't understand.
My concern with Ernie Solis and yours when we met him was the interaction that the people get. And he said that they had a program down there where people would come, and when the county changed it, he lost his patronage. People left and didn't come back. And the problem is these supervisors sit up there. I think John Pedroza needs to go to LeGrand and go to some of these homes and kind of, and I say John because John's a friend of mine, and he's open to that, even Hub.
Yeah.
Deidre Kelsey, I can't believe. Why don't you get a chicken wing, some succotash, and a little lump of a little lump of potatoes, and that's your meal. One of the things in this newspaper article that really bugged me is, where are the fruits and vegetables? Why don't you send Muzi after them? But I got a better idea. You know what's going to happen?
What?
When you don't get seniors that interact with people, what do?
They just close in.
They pass away.
Yeah.
Well, so why don't you clip this coupon for the Gateway Memorial, 15% off, to preserve the memory of your loved one, Anna.
Right below the food stamp or the hot meal article. You know, folks.
It just was weird.
Yeah, I just.
And John goes, and I called John on it when we were talking to Mr. Solis, and John says, it's about a program, I'll tell you. And I said, what if these people don't have, wait, this is what he said. What if these people don't have microwaves? one will be provided for them.
Yeah, we're going to buy them a microwave. Again, not all progress is good, and this is one area where I really think we've stepped backwards.
You know what I don't understand?
Unfortunately, other counties are doing it. That was another excuse. Well, Kings, Stanislaus.
Doesn't make it
Madera.
right.
That's right.
Doesn't make it right.
Doesn't make it right.
I mean, we look at social ills of the country and how they start, and we go, okay, doesn't make it right.
No, I'm thinking of the future. When Anna can't deliver frozen food, when they deliver these puddles of mush, because she obviously can't deliver hot food, why would you think she can deliver frozen? What else could they give the seniors? What other food could we give them?
Let me ask you a question. Is there a health requirement on frozen food?
Oh, I'm sure there is. I mean, you can't have mushy food. It
so
spoils.
I get this stove for. Here's what I want to know.
Right.
Why in the world can't we find a couple of people? You give them credit. What is it? Banquet dinners are $1?
10 for $1 at Save Mart.
Okay, you go get a couple of banquet dinners if that's what you want to do, and you run them around, and it costs you $1. Right. People will do it for free.
Hey, Anna, I got a suggestion. How about 9 lives? You could use the marketing. You could use the marketing. Say, look, seniors, 9 lives. You're getting 9 lives.
How about this?
Full of protein.
Hey, why don't you do this? You want to save money?
I mean, it keeps.
Let's give them tuna cans.
It keeps a 12-pound cat healthy for a day. I'm sure it's good for our seniors,
well,
right, Anna? Isn't it about money, Anna?
Well, let's do this.
Isn't it about money? Isn't that what it's all about?
Of course it is. But let me ask you a question. Why don't we do it one better? Why don't we give them cans of tuna? That way, if they don't eat the rest, they can feed it to their cat. We kill 2 birds at one stone, and we save a ton of money.
Well, folks, we've got the solution. Anna, if you run out of ideas.
But here's my question. Are we almost out of time?
Yeah, we got to go to our third segment.
Go.
Let me take this break, and we'll be right back, folks. Stay with us on Citizen Watch, AM 1480 KYOS. Hello. Let me get the wave down. Here we are.
Hello. Is there anybody out there? Just not if you can hear me.
Okay, that's Rush.
Are you taping?
Yeah, we're on.
Ooh.
Folks, welcome back to the third and final segment on Citizen Watch here on this beautiful Saturday morning, the middle of August, the 16th of August. So look at the calendar. Hopefully you will stick with us for Tea Party Straight Talk after our show, Saturday morning, 8 o'clock. They're a live show.
Cartoons.
Yeah, you're going to watch cartoons. They're a live show, and you can call in. I believe the number is 384-8888. We have our phones fixed. We had a little problem with our phones last weekend. Looks like we've got that problem fixed, and we encourage people to stick with the programming here on KYOS. Okay. If you have any issues with us, Citizen Watch, you can call us at 209-406-8728. You can always send something to the station, 1020 West Main Street, Merced, California, 95340. And if you miss a show, you can listen to us on YouTube by going to YouTube and putting in the search bar Citizen Watch with Robert Tomasetti.
With Casey Steed.
Or you can just put in KYOS space 1480 AM. And the voice you heard was
who?
The Goose Commander.
Quack, quack.
Robert, the Velvet Sledgehammer Tomasetti. I'm Casey Steed, and we're here in our final segment. We've covered a couple of things with Meals on Wheels, our schools, STEM.
Got a question.
Blatant racism up there in Fresno. Now we're going to talk about... What?
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
Okay. First of all,
yes,
there's an article in the Merced County Times.
Yes.
That Steve Gomes.
This week.
Dr. Steve.
Yes, Dr. Somonix.
Right? He's going to open and break ground on a new special ed facility.
Special ed, yes.
Okay.
Now, isn't that Miss Costin run that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's going to be over there by Joe Stephanie School.
Mm-hmm.
He opened a school over there by the Merced, or by Highway Patrol. He's going to open a STEM school.
In Atwater.
In
Highway
Atwater.
Patrol. Yeah.
So the situation to me is Dr. Gomes seems to be able to find money. He's able to build situations for the kids, and yet,
go ahead.
Ken Testa, where are my leaky roofs? Now that you're going to be able to float a bond issue. Now, when I look on my bills, my mortgage for my impounds, I do not, on my tax bill, I do not see any money going to MCOE, but I see 2 of them going to Merced City Schools. I see one of them going to the college and one of them going to the high school.
Yeah.
So how is it that Mr. Gomes can do it without having to dip into my pocketbook, but yet the others can't?
Well, they might be taking money that they're already dipping into your pocketbook, as we know all these things don't come out of the sky. They come out of tax revenue. So.
Of course. And the other thing is, Anna Pagan, when she comes up with these harebrained ideas, okay, does she have a thought tank when she goes through it? And how come it's not reported? Okay, like, for example, this Meals on Wheels. I learn about it 2 days before they're having a meeting.
Right.
Okay, so it's 2 days.
Well, the supervisors evidently did too, because this is another example of where they postpone the decision once public outcry comes up. So, like you say, when did they know about it?
Right, and instead of telling the people and say, hey, what do you think about this? Anna Pagan says it's a great idea. I mean, come on. The ladies come up with the harebrained idea after harebrained idea. And what does John Pedroso say? We rely on staff.
Well, John, you can't.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this.
What?
One of these days, and you're going to hear about it somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to deliver five frozen dinners for lunch for the Board of Supervisors.
There you go.
Okay? And I dare them to eat it and tell me, Deidre Kelsey, that I guess it's okay.
Well, I have a question. Whether they can
You think she'll...
You think they can operate a microwave and get them heated up, or
I don't know. Do you think Deidre and Jerry will drive in for the lunch and then charge the county mileage?
55 cents a mile, baby, from here to here to Snelling or here to Los Banos, every day. Of course, that goes on top of their pension. Well,
and you forgot the kudos.
Kudos too.
Remember?
Yes, the supervisors. We're kind of hard on the Board of Supervisors, and we try to point out good things when they do it. And one of the things that Supervisor Hub Walsh and Supervisor John Pedroso did was not take their raise that they got at the first of the year, which was retroactive back to December or January or July rather of last year. They decided not to take that.
How? Wait a minute.
$1,500.
Who writes these contracts where they can retroactive?
Tied to the judges, tied to the Superior Court judges. That's how as I said at the time, they hide behind the judge's robe. Madera County, as you know, none of their supervisors took the raise, put it back in the general fund for the employees that have been taking.
And that's solidarity.
That is. It shows solidarity. But we did have two of our supervisors that did show that solidarity, and we give them kudos, and we wish that the other three would have joined them. Now we have a lame duck in Lynn Davis who's spending every dime he can on assistance before he leaves. We have Jerry O'Banion, who hasn't faced an opponent in I don't know how many decades.
But how much money is he sitting on his account, and he takes mileage?
Right.
Same thing with Deidre Kelsey.
Right, and we have Deidre Kelsey, who didn't give back her money because, again, she hasn't faced any opposition. I hear she may not run again. Who knows? But it was good to see John and Hub
You know what else I thought
give
was
that
good?
money, even if it was a token gesture.
Do you know what else I thought was good?
What?
The Board of Supervisors said, no, to Deidre Kelsey's daughter's request for $200,000 because she was embarrassed by her actions.
Yeah, she wants a public apology and $200 large for having her reputation besmirched. And I don't know. I think
Let me ask you a question.
I think some people have a hand in their own demise. But
yeah,
I was glad to see that Mr. Fincher, our county counsel, said no. Recommended to the board that they deny the claim, that
I'll
they
bet
do
you
not
if
pay the claim.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
What?
It's going to go to court.
Oh,
Finchie's going to sit in his office and they write the check.
I would like to know what the county spends on legal fees and settlements a year. Oh,
I'm sure that's got to be somewhere.
Oh, I bet it's millions of dollars. All the shenanigans that happen over at the sheriff's department, over at public defender's office, over at the district attorney's office. Oh, you can just imagine the lawsuits.
How much did they pay to those people?
The Merced County Office of Education, all those asbestos. Oh, the money, folks, the money because of the incompetence, the malfeasance, the dereliction of duty. But yet we can't get hot meals to seniors. Anyway,
isn't that asinine?
It just disgusts me.
It does. It does me too.
Disgusts me.
And the point of the matter, what disgusts me is the fact that I guarantee you that those Board of Supervisors did not think when they did this. They went with the money line issue because that's what they're going to hide behind.
They rely on Mrs. Pagan.
What's that article about that I showed you about Stanislaus County?
Well, here's another county around us that's showing leadership. They have showed leadership. We've talked about the sale of water from our county to other counties.
The big agricultural pumping on the west side.
Right. Stanislaus County officials are considering rewriting the county's groundwater ordinance to require all well owners reveal how much they're pumping and how far their well waters levels have fallen. And this periodic groundwater surveys are necessary to identify the health of the groundwater underneath us.
Chowchilla is considering tougher rules on water.
Madera County, again, to the south of us.
But Merced, what do they tell you?
Where's Merced? Crickets, folks. We can't get cold milk to people. We can't get hot food to people.
But we can let people rape the water.
Right. We can sell our groundwater out of the area for $500 an acre foot. Can't find $2.39 for a senior meal. Our priorities are just so backwards. It's amazing we function. It's amazing the sun rises.
I've said this over and over and over when people ask me what I think is wrong with California and why it's broken. And I think California has pushed the individual to such a point that it's all about me. Example: Jerry O'Bannon, 96 grand, and you get $40,000 in that other discretionary fund, discretionary money. You only have to report to your office 2 days a month.
Right.
Okay, but you do the joy trips, and then you start cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
It all adds up.
You look at the way these contracts were written. Mark Pazin, we put a face to Mark. It's not Mark's fault.
No.
He makes $163,000, retires with 200 Gs.
How's that work? You're
Yeah.
only supposed to get 90%.
Because they spike it and they
Then
bump
you end
it.
up with 130%.
Every one, the assessor, the controller, all of them. Level A managers get 12 or whatever it is, 12,000 at the end of the year.
Yeah, they get
Christmas bonus.
How many of you folks out there in the sound of our voice get 160 hours of sick time paid every year at the end of the year?
And you don't have to account on whether you were sick or not.
Yeah, if you're sick, you don't use it. When's the last time Larry called in sick?
When's the last time Mark Pazin called in sick? All those trips to Sacramento that he did to get his new job.
Right.
Did he ever take a vacation day? But the rule says that they don't have to account for it.
That's right. This
Okay,
is
so
the
who-
problem with the system, folks.
Yeah, but Jim Fincher will sit here and say we can't put a rule or we can't change a rule about groundwater because we're talking about personal property.
Well, I am a big believer in personal property rights. But again, I'll tell you, you can't build Fukushima on your property. Okay, you have a responsibility. You can't just do whatever you want. And we can argue that all day long. You know, speaking of costs of government and what it costs to run government, Atwater City Council is talking about meeting once a month instead of twice a month. They can save $21,000 until April of next year. Now, here's the rub. November and December, they only have one council meeting anyway. So we're talking 6 months, $21,000. You divide 6 into 21, it's about what, $4,000, $3,500 for a council meeting. Now, this is staff time, blah, blah, blah. They're trying to save money. Go ahead.
Isn't this to run the government? Isn't this what you get paid to do?
Well, that was the theory. Now, Atwater, they've
No.
gone...
Wait. This goes back to what we argued with Mike Conway, spending $12,500 on pizzas in his time because he had to show up a little extra because of the situation with the kids, with the youth council.
Right.
These guys get paid, salaried, not hourly.
Right.
And your salary says that some months when you're on vacation doing nothing, you get your fat bonus paycheck.
Well, unfortunately, they've cut to the bone over there. We've been very complimentary of City Manager Petro over there, Police Chief Petro. He's wearing a couple of different hats. He's I tell you, he could feed the masses with a loaf of bread. He's done a wonderful job.
He has, but I think they're going a little too far.
Well, they've cut the workforce 42%. They're down to 78 people, and of those 78, they're all off on Friday. So you lose another 20% of their time just by being off.
I get a question.
Go ahead.
What about the fire truck?
Oh, well, the ladder truck, we're still
wondering why they need it.
Trying to determine the paint job on that or something. But
no, but what I'm saying, you're absolutely correct. We're going down to the bones. Okay, I don't see anybody giving up any perks. Okay, Atwater has. Let's say that. But the point of the matter is, it's this money shill game. Oh, well, we have Measure H. Oh, let's go kick the tires. Oh, we bought a truck.
Yeah.
And meanwhile,
well, I think that the concern I have here is one of the comments by Mayor Fall. They talked about, the meeting being 1 day a month, and then the comment period during that one meeting only being 3 minutes. They've been trying to push to have 5 minutes to talk up there. And Joan Fall said, anything after 3 minutes, people go to sleep. And they're not listening to these people. 5 minutes is a long time, and most of the time they just repeat things anyway. Well, Mayor Fall, let me tell you why they repeat things. Because they're telling you over and over and over again that government is broken in Atwater. And they get up there and they take their little 3-minute window of opportunity that you graciously give them. It was funny, Joe Rivero, he disagreed with this one meeting a month and he called it a dictatorship. I disagree with you, Mr. Rivero, Councilmember Rivero. It's a monarchy. It's a monarchy over there. You people are so out of touch. You people are so removed that when your mayor says anything after 3 minutes, people go to sleep. Who goes to sleep, Mayor? You? You tune out after 3?
You know what?
And when they repeat themselves and they say they're not listening, and these people, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I had that example. I went to the Merced Union High School District.
Yeah.
And I listened
board meeting last Wednesday?
Yeah. And I listened to a gentleman. There were a couple of them that were 6, bam, done. Okay, and there was a lady that repeated herself.
Right.
But she's not a public speaker.
Right.
She's a mom that wanted a hardship transfer.
That's right.
And she was trying to articulate, I need it, and I understood that.
That's right.
She stayed within her 3 minutes. The next guy got up, and he was this gentleman from a nonprofit in Winton who wanted to talk about a charter school. So he's telling them this gobs of information, and I'm listening, and then beep, and I'm going, wait, he's not done.
Mm-hmm.
You listen, you pay attention to what he's talking about. If it's not important to you,
Right. Tune it out.
So here's the deal.
Go to sleep.
Right. So Joan Fall, Jeff Rivero, Joe Rivero, Mooningham, whoever the heck else is on the council. Bergman. You're all nuts. Okay. Joe Rivero, I think you only got in there because your last name is Rivero.
Well, that's a whole
Jeff, I think you got in there because your last name is Rivero, because I've seen the things you've done in the Atwater.
Well, maybe that's why he's not running. He says he wants to spend more time with his family. And
sure he does.
Mr. Mooningham the same way after one term.
You think he doesn't want any more races to the house from Foster Free?
Well, I don't know. I guess they're including mix-ins now. But I just found it interesting. Mayor Fall's comment. I think it's disingenuous to the citizens.
No,
we had our own issue here. Yes,
wait.
Go ahead.
It's indicative of what government thinks.
There you go. It's right out there, and I love the quotes in the paper. I mean, they put their own foot in their mouth with these comments.
Exactly. And what I'm saying is that when you go to these people to go explain something to them, you do have to explain it over and over and over because they don't get it.
That's right. And so maybe they're not listening right from the giddy up, but this will be final next reading, and they're going to start it starting in September. You know, we're about out of time, folks. I wanted to mention one thing. We normally don't talk about events so much, but Castle Air Museum is going to have a neat deal out on September 6th. They're trying to raise money out there for their static display. We always promote Castle Air Museum. We think it's a good deal. They're going to have a Bob Hope impersonator, and they had a little deal in the Merced County Times about it, but they didn't really get everything. I talked to the lady that's organizing this, one of the people, Anita Brown. She said they're also going to have a 13-piece orchestra from the Bay Area called 3 O'Clock. They're going to have a couple of singers that imitate the Andrews Sisters. This is going to be like the old USO show that you used to see. This Bob Hope impersonator.
You're talking half the guys that go there went to the Bob Hope USO
well, that's the
show.
thing. They're encouraging people to dress up in period costumes, whether it be a uniform or civilian wear. $60 a person. I would encourage people to call 617-9171 if you want tables. 617-9171. This is for the Castle Air Museum fundraiser September 6th out there at Castle Air Museum. They're trying to get 400 people, table sponsorships of 8 or 1,000. It's a little more, but you get your name out there. We'd like to see them sell all those 400 seats and raise money. I think that static display, if you've never seen it out there, it's great. Robert, of course, air traffic controller in the Air Force, probably
only a couple of them. Some were too early, and some I never got.
Guided those planes, which is a scary thing when you're standing next to him. But he did a good job in the Air Force with his service. But again, that's just a little shout out to Castle Air Force.
Did you know?
Or Castle Air Museum.
Did you know that Robert Tomasetti was Wing Airman of the Month one time?
You know, we could do a whole show on Robert's career in the military and why he ended up in Merced. He had a chance to go to Hawaii, but he wanted to be where there's hot weather. So I don't know, folks, but we've got him and you've got us, and this is the end of Citizen Watch on Saturday, August 16th. We encourage you to stick with us next week when we'll bring another thrilling edition of Citizen Watch. Stick with KYOS through the break. Tea Party Straight Talk will be up. You can call in 384-8888. Thanks for being here. And Robert, what do we end every show with?
That's all, folks.
Bye-bye.